And we're live. So I'm gonna I'm gonna just pull up my Facebook, and ladies, you can also do the same and be sure to share. Whew.
Pastor Nadine, how do I add my Facebook separately?
I think you may have to find it on Facebook and then share it from
Share
there.
it on Facebook. Yes.
I
Oh,
shared it from Nadine's page, so just go straight to her page and it's live, and then we can share it. So,
oh,
yeah,
did you
they
put it in
Oh,
the
I
chat?
see it.
they
It's
can
in the
already
newsfeed
hear
now. You
us
can
and see
share.
us.
Okay, awesome. But I can have it on mine. Are you all able to still see me or
Camille,
no?
you're dark.
No, we're not able to see you, Camille.
Oh, you're
It's
not. Okay.
Well,
it's
let me go ahead and start talking while when Camille is back. Oh, there she is. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Woman to Woman. We're excited that you are here. We're excited to come before you with another amazing conversation because, hey, women are filled with knowledge and we're filled with wisdom, and we have so much experience that we can share. And so, hey, why not get together as women to women to talk about different issues that affect us and different issues that we have experienced in and wanted to share those experiences. So I want to go ahead and just welcome you all. Please share this live broadcast. So, I was thinking about shares.
Issue that
Sometimes
we have experience in and wanted to share.
when you're having a live event and you say share, people might not want to share because they're thinking like, oh, she just wants to build her crowd. No, I share because information is good. Like when something is really good and I'm being fed from it and I know it can bless others, that's why I share. I share because I want to bless somebody else. I want somebody else to hear the information that I'm hearing. So I'm going to ask you to do that. I'm going to ask you to share, share. And I'm going to ask you, don't be afraid to send in your comments. We want to see your comments. We want to have your questions going. And we want to just make this a conversation that all of us are a part of. So welcome. We're all on the screen right now. And I want to apologize for the delay, technical difficulties. It's technology. It's not perfect, but thank you so much for your patience. And I also wanted to apologize to everyone. Yesterday I should have had the legacy luncheon workshop, but we're doing some work on that, and I wanted it to be great. I wanted it to be the way God gave the vision. So we're still working on it. So watch out. It is coming in 2022, and you're gonna love that we have put this extra time into it. So, but thank you for being here. And I have on my screen three amazing, beautiful women, mothers, women of God, business women, entrepreneurs. And man, I'm so excited. I'm not going to be telling you about them. I'm going to let each of them tell you about themselves and introduce themselves to you. And ladies, feel free to say as much as you want to say about yourself. And even if you want to mention, how many children you have, feel free to do that since we're talking about parenting and motherhood. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start it off with Lisa Rodney. I'm going to have Lisa introduce herself and tell you some more about herself.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa Rodney. As stated, I am a mother of one. My daughter is 23, so I'm now an empty nester. So I'm an author. I am an educator. I am also the owner of an online business store. And I'm a 7-star leader with Life Changers Club International. And I'm also deputy ambassador for the Life Changers Club Houston chapter. And I'm currently working in customer service, and I am a lover of Christ. I am sweetly saved and sanctified. And and that's it for now.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Lisa. So she is a mother of one proudly, and we can't wait to hear her story and what she has to say about motherhood. And next we have the lady in red, Camille Blair. She's gonna go ahead and introduce herself.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm so excited, Pastor Nadine, for this opportunity and to be here with this illustrious panel. Camille Blair, I am the mom of three, two girls and a boy. My oldest is in college, and middle child, my boy, is in high school. My youngest is in elementary school. I am a HR professional, work for Capital One Bank, but outside of what I do professionally, I am a global youth advocate. I'm
Mm,
on the Junior Achievement Global Council for Junior Achievement Worldwide. Accumulated over 10,000 volunteer hours, 2020, January of last year, which is a lifetime achievement for me. Recently, I did the virtual Boston Marathon running 26.2 miles. I am an educator as well around financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and readiness for youth internationally. I'm a mentor. I am just so excited for the opportunity to speak to young
mm,
people and women, especially for those that have experienced domestic violence, which I'm a domestic violence survivor,
mm,
and just advocating for women and young women because I'm also a survivor of rape as well. And
mm.
so, just very passionate about young people and women and caring about their education and their economic development. Thank you,
Oh,
Pastor.
oh, wow. Awesome. Thank you so much. I mean, I love the fact that anything that has to do with young people, you're advocating for young people, I'm all for it. You have me right there. So I can't wait to hear more from you, Sister Camille. So next we have the amazing, I love Tony. I'm not even going to say anything, but I definitely have much love and respect for this woman of God, this entrepreneur, this success, and this mother. And I'm going to go ahead and give Tony the opportunity to introduce herself. Hi, Tony.
Well, thank you so much, Camille. I love you right back. Let me tell you something. My name is Tony Sanders. I'm a certified financial educator, licensed financial professional. I am a registered sort of Social Security analysis. So there's many things that I do, many hats that I wear. But one thing that I can say for sure is that I love the Lord. I am a wife. I am a mother. I am a glam mother. I have one biological daughter who is 26, but I have tons of, bonus babies. I consider my bonus babies from my first marriage. They're
Mhm.
both adults. One is married with children. And I also have currently my husband who has four children with a daughter-in-law and is it four? About six grandkids. So you know what? I love my life. I love what I do. I'm very passionate about financial education, financial literacy. I believe that knowledge is power, but it's the application of knowledge which is even more powerful. I love the
Mm,
fact that, Camille talked about the young kids because that's what it's all about, the legacy that we're going to leave. The Bible says that we should leave a legacy of generational wealth to our children's children. But first, there's some work that needs to be done here first. And that's really giving people the education, giving them the know-how of how to do it so that they can too leave that legacy. So there's so many things I can't wait to dive in and talk about as far as being a mother and entrepreneur, which I've been for more than 27 years. Don't let the gray hair fool you. My knees will tell it all. Okay.
Awesome. Wow. Well, we can't wait to hear because you know what? I love what you said about legacy. Everything that we do has to be about legacy, destiny, and, leaving, paying it forward and investing in others. And so, and teaching, other people how to like gain legacy and make it last, make it substantial. So I'm excited for this conversation today. Before we move further, I want to say hi to Armstrong Joseph. I see you. Hello, Faylene Thompson. I see you. Patrice, I see you. Thank you so much. Christy Ame, I see you. And of course, I can't go further without just saying greetings to my husband and our apostle Joy Life Changers from Life Changers Club International and the entire body of Life Changers Club International. Ramatu, I see you. Emmanuel, I see you. And I'm sorry, everyone. For some reason I cannot access the live on my phone, so I'm not able to share the link to the global platform. So if Faylene or Armstrong or Patrice can just share the link to the live on our global platform and in our Houston chapter, I would appreciate that, because Facebook is just not allowing me right now to get on my own live on my phone. But I want to thank God for everyone that is joining us. I have questions and I have comments that I want to share, but I wanted to start this off with a scripture, and then I wanted to, just get the ladies' input on this scripture, because this is something that God just really dropped in my spirit. And it's about Mary, the mother of Jesus. In Luke 2, verse 19, the NIV version, I'm going to read it. It says, "But Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart." Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. And this scripture actually was when the baby was in the manger and the wise men came and gave gifts and all of that stuff. And Mary was like seeing everything that was happening for and to Jesus. And she kind of was like, she was gathering all of this in her heart. And I think she was gathering all of this because she was remembering when the angel visited her, and told her that, hey, you're going to bear this child, and he's going to save these people, the people, And so seeing everything that's happening and transitioning based on her agreement with God concerning carrying Jesus, the Bible said she gathered all of this, she treasured it, and she pondered it. And so that's the thing I wanted to ask you ladies, like, when you decided or you found out that you were gonna be a mother, what are some of the things that you pondered in your heart? What are some of the things? Did you have any questions, or were you like, yes, I'm ready for this, let's go, I know it all?
I was scared to death. Yeah. Let's keep it real. I was scared to death to be a mother.
Wow.
Even though I was a young wife, I was 27 years old when I had my daughter. I didn't know anything about, having a kid or raising a kid. I've been around kids all my life, but they weren't mine. And so I had to go and I had to seek, some support, not just family and friends, but also from the word, that I was not going to be forsaken, and that everything was going to work out in my favor. I didn't even know I was pregnant, ladies. My husband told me at the time, "You're pregnant." I was like, "I'm not pregnant. What are you talking about?" And so, I had it in my mind that things were going to be one way, but God, that was his way of showing me patience. I didn't have very much patience at the time. Let me tell you something. When I had my daughter 26 years ago, she was born with a lot of health challenges. And that was God's way of saying, slow down. You're going to be okay. It's not going to be, woe, it's me. I'm going to be with you guys every step of the way. This is a child who didn't walk or talk like normal kids. I knew from the beginning, the day she came out, the first day, she was jumping around too much. I said, well, this child, something wrong. She's just moving. Her movements were too much. And I knew then that was God's way of getting my attention and that I needed to slow down. She ended up being in therapy for more than 3 years. She was diagnosed as a mild case of cerebral palsy. She had mental, not mental, but physical delay, motor skills, where she would walk or talk. She was like flat crawling and doing so many things. So I had a lot of challenges, with her as she was growing up. But I thank God that she overcame those challenges and that she was able to be in therapy and have those things. I didn't have any more kids after that. Is that because I didn't want to, or that I felt that the next child would have any other issues like that? But I felt that she needed my attention, that she needed me to really focus on her so that she can grow and develop in the way that she should and have an opportunity to be like other kids and to live a normal life. And so, that's my story. I was afraid, ladies. I was afraid. But as I look at where we are today, let me tell you something. This is a thriving young woman who is 26 years of age right now, very smart, very bright. Nothing, maybe physically, she wasn't at the top like most of her peers, but cognitively,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
And I want to thank you for like you're starting us off on a high note, Tony, because you just went right into that vulnerability. You didn't lead up to it, and I wanted to thank you for that because there are parents out there are mothers out there who are dealing with children who has some type of issue. And it is a struggle and it is frustrating, and how as mothers we just go into that zone where we're activated and our focus is on making sure that our children are okay, and we'll do whatever it takes. But for you to share that it was scary for you, and for you
Absolutely.
to share that it was challenging, but right now she's in a good place, she's doing great. And I've seen your posts, of her on Facebook. I would not even know.
Right.
She's so beautiful. I
Right.
like see her and I'm thinking this is a modeler. She's such a pretty young lady. So thank you for sharing that. I'm pretty sure that's going to be an encouragement to someone who's dealing with similar issues.
Absolutely. I think it's very important for us to be transparent as women, as mothers, as wives, because your story can touch and bless someone else. Someone
Yeah.
else is generally going through the same thing that you're experiencing, and maybe they don't know how to handle it.
Mm.
But here I'm telling you that there's support and resources out there available. And I had to do my research. I had a village, and
Mm.
I'm so thankful and grateful for the village that I had during those times. Being
Yeah,
a young person, a new wife, there was a lot of things that I needed. So having that village around you is very, very important.
man. Awesome. Awesome. What about you other ladies? Any questions, or were you like, woohoo, I know it all?
Oh
I'm
no,
Yeah,
no, I wasn't.
you could go first, Sister Lisa.
I certainly was not, and I was 27, just like Tony. I was in my last year of college, my first degree, and I was like, "Oh my God, oh, am I going to do this?" And at that time, I didn't want to ask for help. I was kind of afraid, like I made this bed after lying it. But yeah, she was born premature, and I was told all these kind of things too. She's gonna be slower than the rest. She born with a heart murmur. Just be patient. But
Mhm.
even though she spent that month, while she was spending that month in the hospital, she was here for 30 days, and I would go visit her every day to see the young lady that she is now. Very smart, very bright, intuitive. I mean, she holds her own, but we rocked it out
Yeah,
for 23 years till
yeah,
she can, go away in college and get her job doing well. But being a mother, when I found out I was pregnant, it was very hard. I'm
yeah,
not, it was very, very hard. And the dad was there, but he wasn't there, that
yeah,
kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah,
So it wasn't the easiest thing, but I'm thankful, I'm grateful for how she is today. And there's no sign of it. Nobody can even tell that she was. The only thing I do miss is like I never had to go. I wanted those pregnancy pictures. I never get those because I didn't have that baby bump. I wanted that baby bump, and I never experienced that. I know it's too late, but thank God. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. What about you, Sister Camille?
Oh, definitely. When I had my oldest Amelia, so 19 years ago, last Sunday. Well,
Mm.
similar to your son, right?
Yeah, yes, yes.
Last Sunday she turned 19. I was the emotion that, to be honest, I was ashamed,
Mm.
right? My, wasn't in church at the time, but grew up in church and had backslidden. And so I ended up getting pregnant and I was ashamed because I was unmarried.
Mm.
And it was my sophomore year in college when I found that I was pregnant. And so, I had this belief that, I'm not going to have an abortion. I'm going to carry the baby. And because the person that I was with, we were not steady, we were just, kind of hanging out. So I wouldn't even say that that person, her dad, was someone that was like my boyfriend. We were just kind of messing around, to be honest. And it was really challenging because when a person is not your husband, a husband has a certain level of commitment.
Right.
Even a boyfriend to some degree might have a certain a commitment, but when you're just hanging out and living promiscuously, there's no obligation sometimes for the men to feel that way. And so that's the situation I found myself being ashamed and pregnant. And I have to kind of come to myself really quick, right? So I know I'm going to have the baby, whether he's in my life or not. I am determined to bring the child. And having a child was always like a big deal for me, but I always wanted the child when I was married. So I decided that I'm going to educate myself about, how to carry the baby and what to do. And so I'm a big reader. I'm an avid reader. So
Mhm.
whatever books there were in the library, and I always had a library card to this day. I still have a
Mhm.
library card.
Mhm.
And it was kind of old school, but I always did. And I got a lot of books on pregnancy and the different things that could happen. I didn't have a lot of money at that time, so I ended up doing Catholic charities. I heard
Mhm.
something on the radio when I was living in Brooklyn at the time and heard about Catholic charities. And through them, I was able to kind of get medical insurance and medical care. And I ended up getting, WIC and some of the other programs for young mothers. And I ended up having a huge tummy. So I didn't have, I kind of outgrew my clothes like really quickly. But while I was in school, there was a lady that older person that was in my class, and she saw that my clothes weren't buttoned up and my belly was kind of peeking through
Mhm.
my blouse through the buttonholes. And so she said, I don't want to be forward, but I would like to give you some clothes. Would you accept it? And I said, absolutely. She said, you will? And I said, yes. And she gave me clothes during my pregnancy so I didn't look kind of, out of whack going to school. And out of her kindness, I mean, she just gave me a lot of her clothes and some newer maternity things. And that journey really moved away from shame to a pride of carrying my baby. And she encouraged me, and others encouraged me along the way as well. But I know initially it was, disappointing for my parents because not, they didn't expect that from me, and I didn't expect it from myself. But at the same time, I was not using precautions to not be in that situation. Anyway, so I went from shame to just humility and just being pride, having that joy and pride of having my first child. And let me tell you, 21 and a half hours in labor was no joke. Look, it was no joke.
Yeah.
And I did it with my mom. My mom was there with me, and the dad was not there. I called him several times. He did not come. I learned later that he had a fear because one of his feet are disfigured, I should say. And so his fear, he was born with a disabled feet. And at that time, I didn't really know the full story, but he was honest later on to say that he thought the children would have been born that way. And so
Oh,
he never wanted to see. So he asked me, 10 fingers and 10 toes? And I said, yes. I said, but you should be here. Um, but I'm just so grateful that that shame got changed to just being just overjoyed with the blessing that God had given me in my life. And God, spoke to my heart. The Holy Spirit spoke to my heart when my oldest child was born and said she would be a leader. And
mhm.
for each children, that prophetic word came over each of my children. And then God said with my third, it will be three different type of leader, but they will be leader for the cause nonetheless. And I thank God. I said, God, in spite of my mistake, in spite of being promiscuous and being out there, not even getting pregnant for a husband and not even getting pregnant for a boyfriend, but getting pregnant someone that I was just out there, right? And you blessed me in spite of that.
Come
And
on.
so my mistake was not his mistake because
Mhm.
God divinely, he knew her before she was formed in my womb. He knew her before me and her dad got together. So even though it was a mistake in terms of not doing the right thing and not being obedient to God, but God in his divine wisdom already knew the product that would come from such a disobedience. And so thank you for giving me the opportunity to share.
Man, wow. These stories are just so powerful, and thank you so much, Sister Camille, for sharing. All of you ladies for sharing, because everybody out there can connect with us on some level. Each story is so different and is so unique, and it brings me back to what Tony said, that the village, and just knowing that each of us, even though our circumstances were different, we God provided a village for us, whether it's somebody to encourage us and help us with resources, or whether it's somebody to just find us some to say, hey, I have some clothes, do you mind, that that brings some validation, and that's feeling of love and acceptance. And so it's just good to know that even though we are in different circumstances, different background, God provided that village. And it's an encouragement to someone out there, who's dealing or who will deal with or has dealt with situations like us. For me, it's a similar story. Like, I got pregnant like my last year of college, like in Jamaica. It was unexpected, unplanned, and it took me 9 months to accept that. Like, I literally, I was in denial to the moment he was born. That's how much I wasn't ready. My Nothing in my whole life and my whole life experience, I was naive all the way up to me getting pregnant and giving birth to this baby, and there's just so many other things that happened because I was in Jamaica at the time. I really didn't have any, I kept it quiet, and you really didn't know unless you knew. And when I came to America 6 months pregnant. And it's during that time, it was the first time I really had medical attention. Like, I didn't have any up until that point, and to be honest, when I came here, I didn't qualify for anything, but God just orchestrated some things. Like, he made me walk into a building and just said, I'm here to do a pregnancy test. I was 6 months. It wasn't, it was obvious by this time. But he's like, no, go follow what my instruction and go tell them you want to do a pregnancy test. And when I walked into that building, it was one of those buildings that had the WIC programs and all of that in Fort Lauderdale. And I was like, I missed my period. I want to do a pregnancy test. And they did the pregnancy test. And after that test, they were like, giving me everything that they denied me earlier. They denied me because they're like, no, you're not a citizen. You're not this. I came here on a student visa. Like, so I wasn't a citizen at the time. And they're like, no, you don't qualify, but the baby will once you give birth. And so, but everything that they denied me, God gave it to me in that building, everything. And that's how, I mean, we were on like WIC food stamp and they would like send me clothes. And it wasn't new clothes, it was used clothes for the baby, and I gladly accepted it, and I when I came here, my mom, she was working, and she wasn't available. So I actually had the baby with my pastor at the time. Had no clue what it meant to push. Like, nothing. Like, I wasn't prepared for it. And as a matter of fact, my first blood work that was done, the doctor called me like frantic. He's like, no, we have to get you on iron immediately or you could bleed to death, because my iron was like so low, like it was like barely there. And they had to do emergency thing. But God like really surrounded me with people who cared and who held my hand. So even my pastor just being in the room with me and telling me what to do and how to push and all of that, I needed that. And if I was in Jamaica, I don't know what would have happened. I probably would have died because I didn't have that support there. But God orchestrated things. God will create a village for you wherever that village is needed, wherever you need it. Like, he'll send you somewhere to a village. And so I have 3 sons. That was just my first son. So my other 2 sons were, I had my husband, and I was more prepared and ready. So there's no story there. But I want to thank God for all of our stories. And I know that our stories are a blessing. Outlet says that labor is no joke. it, it was no joke for all of us, And so um I want to go into another portion of questions. Like, so I have this one question I asked, a couple of people to give me some questions to ask you ladies, because I want to get everything out of you, that could be a blessing to those who are watching. So when you think about, how you raised your children, what is the one thing or the one process that has been key to you? And now today, even if they're not adults, but at this moment, you can look at your children and say, thank you, Jesus. Like, what is that important key that has helped you ladies in raising your children?
The word.
Amen.
I want to say integrity.
Mm,
Whatever you do, your word is your word. Whatever you say you're going to do, stick to it, because that's who you are. And I can see that in her now. When
mm.
she's committed, if she says she's going to do something, she's committed to it and she sticks to it. So
Wow.
I
Wow.
think that's a trait that passed on to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in addition to what Sister Tony and Sister Lisa shared, I would say be vulnerable with your
Mhm.
children. That's kind of everything else, right? The word, um, and accountability, but being vulnerable. Like I realize that for my children and for a lot of young people, they look what you, they observe a lot and they observe what you do.
Mhm.
So you can say something, but they're watching for what you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
do. And for me, like I've always been like an open book. For those that are close to me, they know that. Like I will share the deep dark things, my life experiences, because I believe that when they get to a place where their backs are against the wall, they say, okay, well, I remember mom shared this, so it's okay for me to call mom and share this.
Mm.
And so I see that come full circle, even with my oldest daughter, because I've said that to her. I said, it doesn't matter what, tell me anything. I'm not going to say that I'm going to be buddy buddy, with you, right? Because I'm going to hold you accountable. But in that moment, I'm going to do whatever needs to be, who I need to be in that moment. And if that's a shoulder to cry on, I'll be that. But I'm
Mm.
still going to correct. I'm still going to coach. I'm still going to do the mommy things. But vulnerability has been like a key driver with my relationship with my children, letting them know that I said, unless it's like a transformer kind of sci-fi thing coming out of space that I'm not, knowledgeable of, anything else, there's nothing under the sun that you can come up with that mommy is not done, experienced, or her friends have not done and experienced. I said, there's nothing new unless it's some
Yes.
sci-fi transformer stuff that I'm not familiar with. So I said,
Mhm.
if just share it with me, let's talk through it. Because sometimes as young people, they get to a space where they are going through something, and
Mm.
in their little minds, it's like the whole world is crashing down. But if
Mhm.
they just share it, you can
Mhm.
just talk through it, bada bing, bada bang, we solve it.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
for them, they're so pressured sometimes. And that's something that Pastor Nadine, that I just try to instill in them. Just be vulnerable.
Yeah.
This is your trusted tribe, right? This is your
Yeah.
trusted tribe. I'm your mama. So if you can't trust me, I don't know who else, right? So share it, be vulnerable and share it, and let's work through those challenges. But being vulnerable is something that has kept, me as a mom, me sharing, and them also sharing as well.
Yeah. Let me ask you, ladies, how do you handle, the times and the moments when you're disappointed in your children or in something that they've done? Like you're like, it could be something simple, but then it could be something that you consider like this is important. We have to address this. How do you like handle that to the point where it brings out a good outcome? Like, because sometimes as parents, when we get disappointed by our children and by their actions, especially when we feel like we thought we know them, like I thought I knew my son, like how this doesn't even look like or act like something that should come out of my house. So how do you deal with that, like within yourself as a mother? Because sometimes we have to process it within ourselves, and that process we can't share with the children, we can't share with anyone. That's just between us and God. So how do you process that, and then how do you process it with the child, or with the family, so it brings like healing and it brings a good result?
I can share. I can share. My son almost went to jail,
Mm.
right? And as a single mom raising three children, my youngest daughter was a product of marriage. We
Mhm.
divorced after 7 years.
Mhm.
My two older children, they share the same dad, just to put things into perspective.
Yeah.
My son started having issues at school, mixing with the wrong crowd. And the circumstances around that don't necessarily need to go through that to discuss it, being mindful of the audience as well.
Yeah.
But also as a result of the company, and that's what the word of God says, bad company corrupts good character. And so because of the company he was keeping, they made a choice, being who they were, and he being a knocking heads, Jamaica would say, you're knocking heads with them. And so made a poor choice that almost cost another child to get seriously injured. And so that ended up in Prince George's County's court. And so I had to put on many hats in this situation, right? Number one, my son could go to jail, juvenile jail, because he was underage. Number two, I understand that there were certain influences and peer pressure that have caused my son to be in this situation. I am very aware of that. And number three, because I mentor and coach young people, I understand that the different underlying societal issues that impacted young people to get them even in this situation. A lot of those boys did not have both parents in the home. A lot of those boys are being raised by an aunt or a grandmother. No one had both parents in their home. So I'm like thinking multiple layers of what's happening, not only for my son, but the boy that was injured and the other 3 boys or 4 boys that were involved as well. I was very disappointed, but at the same time, I couldn't lose my head. I was very angry. Also on the executive board of the PTA. So can you imagine? PTA person coming down and principal, everybody in the school knows me. At all my kids' school, I'm on the executive board for the PTA. Been on it for Maryland board for over 13 years. And can you imagine? It was my son.
Wow.
My son. So I was honestly very disappointed. And my children know me. I'm not going to pretend to be something outside as something different in the house. So when I'm upset, I'm very straightforward with my emotions. And I've taught them to be very, own their emotions. So they're not denying it. When I'm upset, I said, I'm mad at you. When I'm mad, I said, I'm very mad at you. And I'm mad at you because of this. What you did make me feel this.
Yeah.
So I say what's happening and I say how I felt because of what, happened. And the choice that he made was a foolish choice. The reason why the boy did not even get further injured is because my son was the one that picked him up and say, are you okay? And he's like, I wasn't. The boy, he thought that they were playing and they were really beating this kid up.
Wow.
Right. And he picked him and said, are you okay? Because, because my son is big for his age and very strong and that sort of thing. And now he plays football. Right. But it was just like in that moment, he ended up helping the guy. And that's what helped him in court. Because when the story was told, everybody had ran, everybody left. And he was the one that picked him up and said, are you okay? Yeah, I thought, they were playing. And the boy was crying and kind of covered and hurt.
Yeah.
And that's what helped him in court. Because when the story was told, everything was told. And so I give God thanks for favor. But I told him how disappointed and upset I was. I told him, I explained how I was feeling. Because that moment made me scared as a Black mother, understanding that my son might go to jail.
Right.
And even if it's juvenile jail, there's some things that happen in juvie that even turn the children's mind. And the likelihood of them being productive citizen coming out of that experience, it cuts their chances even more.
Yeah.
So I did a reality check with him. And to be honest, ladies, I also got trusted people in my church involved. They could coach and talk to my son.
Yeah.
Right. I did reach out to his father, but his father at times, sometimes, and is not available a lot of times. Right. But his dad was able to kind of, chat with him too. And I got my family involved because this was a scary moment for me as a mom. My son almost went to jail because of something foolish.
Yeah.
So I had to get, collect myself because I was very angry. I was angry. I was very disappointed, but I was also scared.
Yeah.
I was scared because it's my one son and he was going to be put away, going to special school for children that don't behave, that sort of thing. And I know the potential of him kind of going down that rabbit hole if he did not change.
Yeah.
To be honest, I also got help. I became very vulnerable. I just, talked to the lady that was over our case. And I told her, I said, I'm a single mom and I'm sorry if I'm getting emotional. I'm a single mom and I don't want to lose my son to the system.
Yeah.
I need your help, and whatever help Prince George's County have, I want that help.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had a counselor in our house for over 6 months. We had special folks from the county that would take him out. He did Habitat for Humanity and other youth team building things to kind of have him out there. They will come and pick him up from the house. When COVID happened last year, they had to do certain things virtually. His therapy was virtually, and we had a family therapy that we were a part of, because I needed therapy too.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes as Black people, we run away and we shy away from therapy. But my name is Camille Blair, and I needed therapy. And that's the fact.
We run away from it.
Yeah, I needed therapy. It was a lot for me to deal with. I was very stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's some of the things that I did. I just leveraged all the resources Prince George's County had to provide for me because of my at-risk youth. And I told my pastor, I told certain selected people in my church to pray, and also to give him guidance and counsel, because our family needed it. And so those are some of the things that, I did, and, just had to do, because I was, afraid, and just really wanted my son to just go down the right path. And glory be to God, looking 2 years, 2 years later, to see him actively involved in church, to see him just a mindset change, because you can see the change in the mindset when the actions are different.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So seeing that, and then for the folks that the therapist, as well as the person from the county that was in charge of our case, to this day still checks up on us, just how's things going monthly, just send me an email checking on us, and gave him a nice tablet for back to school. Yeah. Like those sorts of things. So he has a village outside of our family, outside of our church, that want him to win as a young Black man. Thank you.
And that's again, that it takes a village,
Yeah.
And we're grateful for the village, and we're grateful for the hand of God in our lives and upon our children, and Tony said the word, like, the Bible. Go ahead, Tony. I'm sorry.
I wanted to kind of add to what she was saying, and it goes back to, remember, it takes a village, even outside, because I think a lot of times we as parents, we're too close. So we sometimes need to go ahead and allow someone else, whether it's family, friends, our church, like check into the resources that are in your area. But I wrote down a couple of things that I think is very important to mention as she was speaking. And I was like, it's the consequences. So for me, having the oldest child here, 26 years old, you can only imagine. So we have, a 26-year-old, and I'm her mother. So we have two adult women, but I am still trying to guide her and let her know that it's the consequences that you have to think about, that to every action, there is a consequence that you'll have to pay. So the decisions that you decide to, the things that you decide to do, the actions that you decide to take, remember, you've got to remember that those things have actions and consequences to it. I tell her, what you're going through today, what our children go through today, is totally different from what we went through. We didn't have the influences of social media. We didn't have the texting and all the technology that the kids have today. And it can be done for good, but it's also done for bad. The company you keep, I tell her, the company you keep tells a lot about yourself. Mm-hmm. So make sure that when you're considering, being friends or even associates with someone, that you choose wisely. Mm-hmm. That you choose very wisely. I can remember when she started driving, ladies, I was so nervous. Don't have anybody in the car. You don't ever know what they're going to have on them. If somebody you get pulled over, you all are going down. Just educating them and continue to talk to her. I love what you said, sister, about just talking to them and telling them what to expect, even if you get pulled over. All the things are going to help. But the one thing that I would always tell my daughter Taylor is that when you leave this house, you're a representative of me. Mm-hmm. When I leave this house, I represent you. So even to this day, when she sees people, oh my God, Mom, somebody saw me, they knew that I was your mom, that you were my mother, and always be on your best behavior. Yeah. Because you remember how I taught you, and when she does something, and I'm not saying that because my daughter is she is not perfect. Nobody is perfect, but I tell her that you have to remember that how I brought you up and the things that I taught you. Don't ever veer from that. And I'm not doing anything to tell you wrong. Everything that I tell you is for your good. Now, the minute I stop talking to her, she knows that I mean business.
Mhm.
The minute as long as I'm talking, hey, listen to mom. I'm telling you these things for a reason. So I love that we just have to keep talking to our kids. But we as parents too, ladies, we have to remember that these are not the same times as they were when we were coming up. These are totally different days and times that we're living in. So we have to stay connected. We have to stay close to our kids. We have to be that person that they come to. I tell them, don't go to your friends. Your friends don't know anything. Come to your mother where I can tell you and I can guide you. You may not like what I say, but you'll thank me later. You'll thank me later. So I think that just keeping all of those things in mind where our kids are today, I am so glad, sister, that everything worked out for your son. I've had some challenges with my daughter as well, especially when the young ladies start dating, making sure that they know exactly the direction to go and what the signs to look for, because there's so many different things, so many different roles that our kids can take. I just want to make sure you stay on the right track.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, these are the consequences. So that's just something that I definitely wanted to add.
Yeah. Anything on this, Lisa?
Yes. I want to share how I handle that situation badly. And before I say that, I just want to let you guys know it's okay. As single parents, I don't know. We think it's okay to ask for help. We don't. We try to be Superman, do it on our own because we're trying to be strong for our kids. And I always want to be the influence for my child. I don't want nobody on the outside be influence for her. I want to be that influence. But I remember last year, she went and got a tattoo. Even though we spoke about it and I said, Aliyah, no tattoo. She went and got a tattoo. And when I tell her, it hurt me to the core because she always asks me before she go ahead and do stuff at that age. She still asks me and she rely on, what I tell her, and she do what I tell her. But she didn't do it this time. She went ahead and had a tattoo that said strength. She has anxiety issues. So she wanted that strength on her arm to remind her. And I said, I don't care what it is. You know, I was Jamaican parent. We don't care. I was like, I don't care what it represents. I said, no tattoo, right? And it hurt me to the core that I could not speak to her for 2 to 3 days. You hear, when I called my sister to check up on her to make sure, even though I'm not talking to her, to make sure she's fine, my sister said, oh my God, she's not herself. She's not eating. She's not talking. She's not being herself. And I felt so bad. I said, okay, how am I going to straighten this thing out? Because no, I'm going to have to go and apologize. But I didn't want to do that either. You know what I mean? So after a while, I called her and I said, Aliyah, and she said, Mommy, you hurt me so much. You hurt me to my core because we have such close relationship. We FaceTime 24/7 every day, talk every day. And for her not to hear from me, and I'm kind of a rock, help her through anxiety and stuff like that. And when I tell you, it hurt me to the core because I added to her anxiety, and I'm the parent. And regardless of what she does at 23, but even if she was 16, I should be her support, right? And understand, regardless of how I think about it. And, we talked about it. And I promised her that I'm going to step back, fall back some, and allow her to be an adult and make her own mistakes. Because it's hard when it's just the one child being away from home. It's hard. I'm not even going to lie. It's very hard, but it's something that I'm learning and I'm working on it. And how I communicate with her and understand that even though I have my way of doing things, I still have to allow her to be her and make her own mistakes as well. And but parents, I'm telling you, never stop talking to your kids regardless of what it is. Because it not only hurt you, it hurt them because she was really in a bad place. And I'm glad she came up out of it.
Yeah, that's such a great point because when we stop talking to them because we're upset at their behavior, it literally will leave a room and don't open door access for the enemy or other bad influences to come in and take that space. So even though we are upset at the behavior, we want them to know that we love them still, and that I tell my son that the behavior is not you. And I want you to be able to separate the difference so that we can work at you fixing these behaviors. And really, it's kind of lead me into the next topic or, question or I want to ask, because, some parents, we are kind of overbearing and we're helicopter parents. And honestly, we are constantly hovering over our children, whether they're 2 or 23
Yeah.
or 26 or 30,
Yeah.
and so, while that, we love our children, and so we go, the extremes. Really, it's not a good place, it's not a good thing to do. And so, how can, because I know that there are parents out there who are, the children think they're overbearing, and they're like just hovering too much and not giving them any space or any freedom, so to even become themselves, and if you look into your house, like Sister Camila and I, we have 3 children. The 3 of them are different. Like literally, I cannot use the same um strategies with
Mhm.
my middle son that I use with my youngest.
Right.
Because my middle son, he likes to reason. He's very intellectual. When you sit with him and you reason with him and you show him the pros and the cons, and he will always go to the right decision. The youngest one, he makes changes when you get upset with him. He when you get annoyed with him, he like adjusts. So how do you, like, what can we say to parents out there who are like just really in that space of hovering and just crowding and not really understanding how to deal with the children based on each of their personalities and how God has created them? How do we help parents out there with that?
Well, I would first say this, that, just having one, but even having my bonus kids, you're absolutely right. They're all totally different. What I had to learn is that, I have to allow her to grow. I have to give her the space to become an
Mm,
individual. She's an individual young lady now. So I had to, it was really killing me inside, to the point, if I can be transparent with you ladies, it was times that I couldn't even sleep at night.
mm,
I was concerned about her well-being. But then I had to let go, and I had to let God handle it. And I had my prayer was, just to protect her. Do you know how concerned I was, her getting off late at night, having to go from a car to an
Mhm.
apartment, and just knowing everything and all the evils that are out there. But I had to let it go, and I had to allow God to
mm,
handle it and be her protector. And so I would say to all the parents out there, just give them enough space to grow. You have to allow kids to become their own individuality person. She is not me. And
mm,
I think for a long time, ladies, I wanted her to be me. Why isn't she more like me? Because she's not me. She's
Mhm.
Taylor. And
yeah.
so once I allowed her to give her that space, and she's still growing, I can tell you at 26, she still calls me quite often. She still, relies and depends on me. And I want her to do that, because the last thing that I want, she is not married, but I want her to be able to call me and not anybody else. I love what you just said previously, Nadine, is about when you open up that door, if you leave that little bit of space and you
Mhm.
allow the enemy, and the enemy could be
Mhm.
friends, influencers, any
Yeah.
kind of bad spirits to come in. And then I don't want to do that. But I just give her enough space. But I'm always there. She knows that she can always call me. She can always count on me if there for anything, any time of the day. But I have learned that I have to give her space. I have to allow her to grow. Now, as growing up, I gave her enough rope to hang herself. All right. But as an adult woman, I really had to let go. And I
Yeah.
had to, and I always say this, I tell her this to this day: I'm not your friend, I'm your mother.
Mm,
Mhm.
But I
Yeah.
always remember a pastor telling me this too. These kids, he's lent these kids. God has lent our kids to us. They're not ours.
yeah.
While they're here on this earth, yes, but He has the final say. So
Mm,
I had to show her that, and these things that you're doing, if whether they're good or bad, just remember what I taught you. And do the right thing. So that would be my input for any parent,
yeah.
whether your kids are young or adults. Please allow them to be individuals and grow. I think that a lot of times, just what I personally experience and what I see with even my friends and my family, we always want our kids to, whether follow in our footsteps or be somebody that they're absolutely not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow, wow, awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, Sister Camille, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to add, in addition to what Sister Tony said, is just give
Mhm.
yourself grace.
Yes.
Give your kids grace.
Mm.
Just recognizing that you are not a perfect person,
Mhm.
only God is, and
Mm.
they're not perfect either.
Mhm.
So as they're on that journey, give yourself grace. Like when you mess up, like I apologize to my children. I say I'm
I
sorry.
do too. Yep.
And
Mhm.
I give my children the opportunity to give me feedback and coaching,
Yes.
because
Yes.
they know that that's their responsibility as a child of God, to reproof, to correct. And so I'm not above the word of God. I'm just the same. So if I'm out of order, then respectfully say, hey mom, no, I da, 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 da. But respectfully,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because
Mm-hmm.
respect
Yes.
is due. You respectfully correct me. But that's the one thing that I would say to the parents is give yourself grace when you mess up, and be humble enough to apologize to your children when you are wrong, and give them grace when they mess up as well. And just don't hold on to grudges, especially when it comes to your children. I have learned that, because I find that I am harder on my biological children than I am with my young people that I mentor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am so much harder on my children, and my expectation from them is so much more. But then I learned that expectations are always good. 7 different brothers, 7 different minds. As long as the outcome is whatever God's will for them happens, then that's fine. My guidance is to guide them along the path that Jehovah has designed for them. But I
Yeah.
have to be very mindful that God has given me them and lent me them for the time, whether it's 30 years, 40 years, 90 years, however long that God has destined them to be on this planet. I hope 200 years, but I don't know. But whatever years that I'm in their life, I have to be mindful of the assignment that God has for me as mom. I
Mm.
have to be mindful of that assignment, because
Mm-hmm.
then God will hold me accountable
Yeah.
for not being obedient to that assignment.
And Sister Camille, I want to inject something right there because this is so good. We need to have this conversation again. We cannot even cover everything that I wanted to cover. But I want to inject right there as you were talking. When you said you have to be mindful of, that purpose that God has given you over their lives. And I think equally important is we have to be mindful of the purpose that is on their life, like the destiny that is in them, the vision, what God has put inside of them. We have to be mindful of that, and then we have to deal with them based on that revelation as parents, because that's what we are here to do, to nurture them so they grow into that destiny that God has placed inside of them. So a lot of times we just, I'm the parent, you're the child, and we discipline, and we just go about the flow, not thinking about destiny,
Mhm.
not
We
thinking
project
about
ourselves
the
on
seed
them.
inside of our children and that gift, and it is for us as parents and as mothers to actually discern it, pray
Mhm.
over it, and ask God for help and instruction as to how we can help our children to birth the destiny.
Yeah,
So I just thought that that was a good place to kind of inject that also. you know
Absolutely. Yeah.
Amen.
What, what is their purpose, you know?
What? Yes. What is, and I have the destiny conversation with my children, my sons, all the time, and I'm constantly speaking it into their ears. And I have a revelation of what each of them is called to. And my youngest, he'll be like, I just feel like my name is meant to be in lights. And I said, I agree with you, sir. And so what is it that, what are the gifts and the talents that are inside of you? What are the passions that you have? Those are the things that will put your name in lights. And how can we develop those, and just helping them with those skills, so they don't, because my children have a tendency to be very reserved and quiet, and I'm trying to kick that out of them because I was reserved and quiet and shy, to my detriment, growing up. And so I'm trying to get that out of them because that's not of God. I want you to be bold and confident and know who you are, and solidly accept who you are, and know that that doesn't depend on whether your friends like you or not. You are who you are because this is how God created you to be. So if you are 5'2", God decided to put all of his glory in your 5'2" body. And you just have to accept that, you know? So those are conversations I love having with my children. Do they always get it right? Absolutely not. But I'm sowing the seed, and one day they will get it completely right,
Right.
you know, as they mature, you know?
Absolutely.
Good conversation. I want to thank everyone out there. I just want to take a little break. Thank everyone out there for the comments. I mean, I try to bring them up on the screen. Thank you so much, Ambassador Fabi. Thank you, Faylene. Thank you, Armstrong. Thank you, everyone. Reverend Fred. Pastor Helen, for all the comments. I see them, and I'm as they're coming up, I'm putting them on the screen. If there are any questions out there you like to ask the ladies, please do so. But we're about to shift and round up because we're over that 1 hour mark, and I need to let these ladies go to do what they need to do. And I'm so appreciative of the time. And I wanted to give Tony a moment to talk about the importance of, as mothers, and that we are sowing into our children, not just, think, oh, do the right thing, be the right way, but also having them thinking of financial independence and thinking of legacy. And those are seeds we can sow into our children, to teaching them how to budget, how to tithe, how to save, how to spend. And so we want to be releasing out there well-rounded children. And so I want to share, before Tony talked and then we close, I want to share a comment that my boys made, because I told them about this live, and I just asked them, like, what is the one thing that you would like to say to these mothers, the parents, all of that. Oh, thank you, Christina. She's actually, I think she's in the air, but she's on the live, and she said hello. So bless God for you. But my son Amani said, parents, mothers, we need to trust your children to make the right decisions, especially when they are not home, when they're away from home.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, amen. And then he was like, I'm not going to say anything else because I don't want to get personal with you. He's like, we already had this conversation. I said, okay. I said, but no, you can get personal with me. You can hurt my feelings if you need to, so we can talk. I said, growing up, back in the day, children were told to be seen and not heard.
That's right.
I want you to be heard. I want us to have conversations. I want you to be open. I told him, I said, I choose to give you more than what I was given. Because I understand we're in a different dispensation, and there's the more out there that is pulling you guys' attention. So I choose to be open in this house. I choose to talk to you about every topic, and I want you to feel open enough to talk to me about anything. Even if you feel it's gonna hurt me or it's gonna upset me, I would rather to hear it so we can figure it out. I don't want you to hide anything from me. So that's what he said. Then Hayden said, we need to understand. He said he can understand our concern. This is Hayden. This is the reasoner. He likes the reason. He can understand our concern about our child not making right decisions when not around. But a parent should take more time to understand the maturity levels of our children and learn what maturity level they are at in each season, so you don't frustrate them.
Oh. Tell Aiden I'm trying. I'm walking into that space and I'm trying.
Ambassador Alec just said, easier said. It's so true. So he's like, I'm like, oh, so you mean that if you're 2 years old, I should deal with you like you're 2. But if you're 19 years old, I need to understand the level you're at and deal with you based on that. And he's like, yes, exactly.
And they play just like that too. You can't be an adult when you want to be an adult.
Goes both ways.
Yes. So that's what my young men wanted to say to us as mothers. And we're work in progress. We love you guys so much. We want the best for you. We want the best for our children. And I believe in mothers. I believe that we there's something special about us. As Hayden said, he said 2 things. He said mothers are nurturers, but fathers are instructive. Mothers are nurturers, but fathers are instructive. So I said, which one do you think is more important? He said both. We need both.
Yeah.
We need the nurture, we need the instructions. And so mothers, we take we take the seed and we nurture it and we give it what it needs to grow and to blossom and to become.
Right.
Do we always get it right? No, but our heart is in the right place.
Mhm.
And it's the Bible says that how can a woman's tender love cease towards the child she bears? So it's very, there are mothers out there who don't care, but I feel like there are more good mothers out there than there are, mothers who don't care. And so we will continue to seek God's face and continue to submit to God, and so that He can help us to get it right. Because everything that we need comes from the Word of God, and there's no other way for me to tell you that. Like, you don't go to, like I told my son earlier, I said, you don't go to, Samsung to ask instructions or help with the Apple phone. You go to with an iPhone, you go to Apple. You go to the manufacturer, and we are created by God. So your children are a gift from God. So God understands them. He took the time to form them before He delivered them to you. So the only way for you to do it successfully is to go back to the manufacturer and to have him give you help, in the time when you need them help. Amen. The church says,
Man, I love that.
amen. So at this time, we're going to transition. We have two more things to do before we close. So the first thing is we're going to transition. And the second thing is, before we end, ladies, I just want you to give some good energy out there about your children. I want you to rave about your children, any successes, what you're most proud about for your children. We're talking about the joys, not just the challenges. We're talking about the joy. So I want us to end with some joys where just send some love out there to your children, your sons and your daughters. But before we do that, let's go ahead and hear from the expert herself, who want to share some nuggets with us about financial independence and security and legacy for our children. Tony.
Well, thank you so much. I definitely appreciate you guys having me on and being a part of this panel. I do believe that this is something that must be ongoing. We must talk about this on the regular basis. I wanted to share a story with you guys, and I don't want to, damper it, but I want you to know how important it is that we continue this conversation, ladies. I was looking on social media, and this came across my feed a couple of days ago, and I'm thinking, wow, there's so many, single parents and married parents and mothers that we need to definitely support and be a resource for. It was a single mother who killed herself battling depression and stress over raising her kids alone. So I want to thank you, Sister Nadine, for this opportunity to be on here with Sister Lisa, Sister Camille, because this should not end here. We definitely need to continue the conversation. As far as the finances, that's what I'm passionate about, financial literacy. Along with my firm, I'm a part of a campaign to educate 30 million families by the year of 2030. And I need each and every family to be a part of this. Parents, we want to be able to teach our kids. If I can be transparent, growing up as a child, my mother was a single mom on welfare. She had 4 kids by the age of 25, and she simply did the best that she can do. But now today, our resources are available for us to learn. As parents, how can you teach your children something that you don't know? So being educated, being a part of the financial literacy campaign, taking these free workshops, setting your kids up for success. What I find that in a lot of other communities, they set their kids up for success. Well, Tony, what do you mean by that? I mean, teaching them and learning about money at a young age, putting the right things in place, whether it's, Roth IRAs, 529 savings accounts, whether it's, life insurance. I can go on and on about products and services, which doesn't matter at this point, but it's all about the implementation of the knowledge that you will learn. The Bible talks about leaving a legacy of generational wealth. But how can we leave that legacy if we're not even leaving it to the first generation of children? So I think this is a conversation that also should be had. We should start talking about these things with our kids so we can set our kids up. See, what happens is, we as an adult, we learn at a later age, and then our kids don't get that information. And so instead of, our kids starting off when they're babies, I'm talking about young kids, and they don't have to lose so much time in investing and saving and planning for their futures so they can retire with dignity and leave a legacy of generational wealth. When we talk about legacy, I want us to consider this. Let's start thinking about a race. So we're all running a race, right?
Mhm.
And so the parent is behind behind their kids, and there's a baton that's being passed. And so those kids are running and they're running and they're running. And the parent, the mother or the father, or maybe even both, are passing that baton. That's the same thing it should be with our legacies. That's the same thing that we should do when building our wealth. You know, our kids are finishing college with so much debt, and debt is becoming a way of life. How do we change that? How do we change the narrative and be the change that we want to see? It all starts with financial education, so that you can make better financial decisions in regards to money. Kids can learn. If they can read, they can learn. They can learn how to count money. They can learn to budget at a young age. I have so many materials and things out there that are available, Sister Camille. You know, I definitely want to make sure that we get together so that we can collaborate, making sure that you have all the tools that you need, because I heard you say that's what you do, and it made my heart just smile when you said that you're in education and that you're also in financial services as well. We have work to do, and it's going to take each and every one of us. There's too many nuggets for me to share, but one thing that I will tell you is the wealth formula. You have to have money, you have to have time. You have to have a positive rate of return minus inflation and taxes. So since we're talking about our kids, let's just talk about it. So our kids are so young, so it takes this much money because they have this much time. Where you see me, I have more years behind me than I have ahead of me. So it takes a lot more money because I have less time. So let's just give our kids an opportunity, you know, to build wealth and leave a legacy so that they can have it even better than what we had it. It should be a continuation. We should start leaving that. It only takes one person. It takes one person in each family to start that legacy and continue it on for generations to come. You also want to consider your financial house. What does your financial house look like? Is it built properly? So we all live in a physical house, right? And it's built on a solid, firm financial foundation, a foundation, right? That holds everything together. But what about your finances? Do you have proper protection, debt management, emergency fund? And then the roof of the house is an investment. That's how you make your money make money. So parents, if you don't know some of these things that I'm sharing, I will tell you this. I'll do this one better for you. I'll give you books, all the resources that you need. I'll give you the link so that you can take free workshops Monday through Friday, up to 2 times a day, from 1 o'clock in the afternoon, even a one at 7 o'clock at night. If you're in Central Standard Time Zone, if you're in Eastern, 2 o'clock and 8 o'clock. But let me tell you something. Take advantage of me. Take advantage of the services I'm going to provide for you. A free complimentary personal financial strategy. If you've never had a strategy, you definitely need to sit down with me and do a one-on-one with me so that I can help you. You know, I want my community to win. I want all the parents and students. I want everybody to win. I'm not a winner unless my whole community is winning. So many people are suffering in silence right now. So many people are feeling hopeless. But I'm here to tell you that there's help for you. If you would just make the first step, and that's making up your mind, making a decision that you want to change your life and start, you know, really learning about financing and how it can apply to you and your family, our community, because everybody is in trouble when it comes to money. I don't care if you have $50 or 50 million. Globally, we have a financial problem, and it's only going to get worse if you don't fix it today. So just like you have a toothache, you go to the dentist. When you're sick, you go to the doctor, and they're able to diagnose you. Well, consider me your money doctor. Okay. So I'm going to help you. And I'm going to help your family so that we can help our children so they don't have to retire and figure out, you know, starting all over. Every generation, why are we starting all over? It should just be leaving legacies of generational wealth. So that's all I'm going to share for today. But if you contact me, I'm going to give you a book. This is a complimentary book that's Saving Your Future. It's our proprietary book. It's about 86 pages of the basic principles of financial education. I promise you, if you read that book and you apply the principles, you'll definitely see some changes in your life. So Nadine, I'm going to give it back to you, but I want you guys to know that it has been a pleasure to be with you ladies today. This forum should definitely continue. This is something that everybody needs, whether parents, and let me say this, Nadine, it's just not the parents. We have a lot of single men that reach out, you know, to me as well. They have some of the same challenges that we have as single mothers or married mothers. Fathers have the same things. You know, we always think about, you know, the mother being that person that, you know, takes care of everyone and everything. But I have some dads. I know some dads out there too, who are in the same, you know, position that we're in as far as, okay, what do I do? This is especially men who have girls. girls.
Mm,
There's some challenges that they face,
yeah,
being a single father or a dad raising young girls or young kids in
yeah.
general. So again, thank you so much.
Mm, absolutely, absolutely. And we definitely want to cater to everyone who has a hand in the life of a young person. So if you're a mom, a dad, if you're a bonus mom, a bonus dad, some people say stepmom or stepdad, there's resources there. There's a village there to help you, you know, push out successful men and women out into the society. And so, Tony, I do want to thank you for that. And thank you for that presentation. It's excellent. I personally have that book, and it's not just the book, it's a workbook also. So you're able to write things down and calculate things and all. So I would recommend you definitely reaching out to Tony and get started on. I've worked in wealth management and estate settlement for 20 years, and I'm telling you, it's important. And I want to see, Black families, established when it comes to legacy, when it comes to understanding finance and money. I want to see us going towards investing instead of buying the latest whatever. I'm not saying don't, but I'm saying, let's prioritize. Let's get ourselves to a certain place where we can buy the latest without going broke. I remember in Jamaica growing up, where when there's a party, these mothers, these women would go buy the latest and the best thing for the party, but they can't pay their light. They can't buy food the next day. They spend everything so they can look good on the outside, but they didn't take care of the home. They didn't take care of the children. And we're saying we want to break that. That's not the picture that we want our children to have anymore. We want them to have the right picture, because I've worked with families where even the newborn is a millionaire. Why? Someone understood that principle and the importance of legacy and made a difference. This did something differently. And so if we can like begin to inject that into everyone we know, into our Black communities, into families, whatever the race may be, then we'll start seeing a different picture into our children. We want to leave that legacy for our children and our children's children for generations to come.
Absolutely.
And I don't want my children to suffer. I don't want my children to go through anything that I went through. So how can I give them that different picture if I'm not doing anything differently?
Right. And it starts with the education. So the education is the first thing that I would definitely say for parents, first and foremost. And then so that you can teach your children. Parents, I cannot say this enough. You cannot teach your children something that you don't know. And unfortunately, a lot of times, parents are like, when I even ask them, they say, "Oh, I'm good, Tony, I'm good." But really on paper, you're not good. So first of all, being transparent.
Yeah.
You have to be able to admit and really say those words as I'm not good. I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Most people will not be able to retire, Sister Nadine, and they don't even know why.
Yeah.
We are the number one consumer, but we're the worst savers and investors.
Yes.
If they make it, we buy it.
Yeah.
I want you guys to know that you can do anything that you want to do with a budget. A budget is not restrictive. It's just giving your dollars an assignment, telling your money what you need it to do.
Come on now.
So I can go, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Hey, I can go on and talk about this, but I just felt like, and it's a personal conversation. And I can say this, Sister Camille, I know that you know this, that most people in our community, they think it's taboo to talk about their money.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get help, ladies and gentlemen. You must get help in all aspects of your personal finances. This is why we're losing, because we don't get with the right people. Stop asking your auntie and uncle, and they don't have the right credentials to help you.
Yeah.
Get with some professional people who can help you get on the right path. It's almost like GPS. If you get off track, guess what? I'm going to be right here to get you right back on track, to make sure that you achieve your financial goals, that you're financially free and you're financially independent. We can no longer make the excuse of why we're not better stewards, why we're not tithing, why we're not saving money, why we're not investing money. Why don't we have money to send our kids to college? Why do we keep buying things, the tangible things? We've got to buy the $1,000 bags and we don't have $100 to put in it. Why do we pay buying these expensive cars and we're living in an apartment. So go, talk, Tony, preach, Tony, just teach them, Tony, because I know this is not what people want to hear, but it's the truth. And until we make that decision in our minds that we're going to change our lives and we're going to get educated, because see, knowledge is power, but it's the application of knowledge which is even more powerful. But people, a lot of times they don't want to have that conversation.
Yes.
But now is the time. And if you don't do it now, when will you do it? When? See, the pandemic, if nothing ever happened, you would continue to do the same thing. But the pandemic, if it hasn't taught you anything, it has taught you, I need to get myself together. Financially, I am a mess. Most people were waiting on the stimulus check, on a stimulus package. No, let me show you how to create your own.
Wow.
8 million people are out of work with 10 million jobs. People don't want to work for anybody anymore. But if that's your story, let's have a conversation about it. Have you ever had a financial needs analysis so you can see exactly where you are? I'm not going to judge you. It's a no judgment zone. Everybody starts somewhere.
Yes.
Everybody starts somewhere. But the key is getting started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, Tony. Thank you, everyone. We're closing now, and these are my closing instructions. And while the ladies are doing their closing, I want you guys to send up some hearts to them, some love, show them some hugs, some kisses. So in closing, I'm going to give each of you ladies the opportunity just to send a shout out of love and celebration to your children, and then also I want you to give a word of encouragement to parents out there, to their children, also inspiration. And then the third thing I want you to do is let us know, let everyone out there know how they can contact you, how they can connect with you. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start with Sister Camille, and then I'm gonna start with and then Lisa, and then we'll end with Tony. So Sister Camille, you're up.
Thank you so much, Pastor Nadine, and all the illustrious guests that are on the call, and all the women and men that are also on the call. I just thank God for the 3 heartbeats. I call them my 3 heartbeats that I'm blessed to just raise. For Amelia, just so grateful. Like, she's been in college and just nonstop straight A's, and I'm just so happy that she decided to focus. But outside of that, just decided to serve the one true and living God. So I'm just happy for that. I'm happy for my middle child, Romario, and his growth and his development, being on the football team and just working so hard, especially like he wasn't in football prior to high school. So sometimes other students that are, better athletes, based on, their tenure, have, kind of started before him. And I'm just so grateful when I look at him and his passion and his tenacity to win. I'm just so humbled to see his tenacity and his perseverance in that space and doing well in school as well. Just a lot of love also for my youngest daughter, Naomi. Folks affectionately call her Mini Me because they see that type of leadership style in her, and how she challenge things, and how she's very curious. And I'm just continuing trying to shape and mold her, just like I'm shaping and molding the other 2 children that I have. I thank God for her, and I thank God for her curiosity and how she question things and challenge things. I thank God for her brilliance in its natural form, her intellectual talent in its natural form. And I just thank God and encourage her to continue to be curious, continue to ask questions, that sort of thing. But sometimes I just say, don't talk so much, because then you get yourself in trouble. But I'm so grateful for my youngest daughter, Naomi, so grateful for my middle child, Romario, and so grateful for my oldest child. And just thank God for what he's already doing in their lives and how you'll continue to lead them. My encouragement to the parents out there is just trust God in the process. Whatever you're experiencing, it's all a part of the process, and everyone's journey is not the same. So don't feel pressure to compare yourself to other parents. Your journey as a parent, as a mom, as a dad, is your journey with your children. And be very mindful of that you're not comparing yourself to others. And when you make a mistake, it's presented to God in prayer. and let God know this is where I'm at, and be honest and be vulnerable in that space. I think those are the two things. Oh, and then to the parents, what was the third thing? Did I miss it, or did I
Yes.
say it, sis?
How can they connect with you?
Oh, how you can connect with me. Um, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Camille R. Blair, link on LinkedIn. So Camille R. Blair. You can also reach out to me via email at CamilleRFrancis@gmail.com. That is my, Francis is my maiden name. You can reach out to me there as well. If you reach out to me on WhatsApp, my phone number is 240-704-0988. When you reach out to me, I prefer texting me first so I know who you are and how we, got connected. And you have my email address as well. I'm so excited about everyone that's on this line and this live, and I pray that God's tremendous blessing be upon you and your household. And I pray that God give you favor with your children, and that whatever you do and whatever you say, that you will flourish in this season and in the next season, and that you will always make God your number one priority. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. Lisa.
I just want to say, Leah Brittany Pinnock, you're one of the best daughter anyone could ever ask for. And I'm grateful that I'm still your biggest influence. I celebrate you going to college. I didn't have to coax you into going. You wanted to go, graduated cum laude, and you're working in your field in PR. You're making moves. You're managing yourself. You're in a big city, and you're doing well for yourself. And I couldn't have asked for you to do anything else different, done anything else different. You did well for yourself, and the sky's the limit. And I'm proud of you. And I'm happy that you have a servant heart. You like to serve, you like to help. And I'm grateful that God gave that, placed that into your heart, because serving is one of the best way for you to show God how much you love Him. And my final word to mothers, parents in general: it's okay to be okay. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay that you don't get it right. Offer yourself some grace. No one is an island. No one stand alone. Ask for help. Nothing is wrong in asking for help. I can be found on Facebook as Lisa Rodney, and on IG as Lisa N. Rodney. And my website is lisanicole.com. lisanicole.com. Thank you, Pastor Nadine. Thank you, Sister Camille. And thank you, Tony, for your insight. I've learned something that I can use, because I'm into that space now where I am learning how to back off. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Lisa. And now Tony.
Well, thank you so much again, Sister Nadine, for this opportunity to be here with you and the panel. Taylor Don Rhodes, what can I say? I love you to the moon and back. As a parent, it has been challenging, but we've had a lot of joys as well. And I think as being a parent, that's what happened. It's a learning process. I've learned and grown, and you've learned and grown as well. I'm very proud of you. I want you to keep pushing forward. I see that you have that entrepreneurial spirit, just like your mother. I'm very proud of you. You said you were going to do your makeup line, and you started it. So continue on that path. And I promise you that everything that you wish and you hope and you pray about will come to be. For all the mothers out there, again, just like the lady said, give your kids some space. That was something that I definitely had to learn. Make sure that you use your village. That's what the village is there for. We need to be able to, have that village around us, and not just for the kids, but for us as parents. This is, a good way to, just talk it out. You talk to other parents, they have the same challenges that you're going through. So please don't ever forget, or don't ever think that you're alone, because you're not. For everyone out there, if there's something that I can do to help you on your journey, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name is Tony Sanders, your certified financial education instructor, your licensed financial professional, and your registered certified Social Security analyst. I'm here to help you on your journey. Reach out to me. You can call me. You can text me at 281-898-4018. Yes, that is my number. remember, I believe in connecting and helping people. I want to be a resource and a vessel to people to make sure that they can retire with dignity and leave that legacy of generational wealth. Start with your kids. I know that you love your kids. Give your kids an opportunity to win, parents. I'm on all social media outlets. Just connect with me. I'll be try to leave my information in the chat on the live feed, and get with me. You get with me, and I'll definitely give you the resources that you need, complimentary, so that you can start your journey to financial freedom and financial independence. So thanks again, Nadine, for having me.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you so much, Tony. And of course, I want to give my shout out to my three boys, Jonathan, my oldest, Hayden, and Amani. Like my heart is just there. You guys occupy every space of my heart, and I am just grateful to God for blessing me with you guys, for blessing me with sons. I wanted all sons, and that's what He did. And I want to thank God for that. I mean, Jonathan, the oldest, it hasn't always been easy, but I now see God's hand upon you, and He is like taking His time and working you into your purpose and your destiny. And He's become a successful businessman. Like he's sending me money. It has switched from me taking care of him and sending him money to now he's sending me money to him now. Talking business with me, and so I am just, and I've always seen that on him. I have always seen that he was a business, that he had that entrepreneurial spirit on him. And I'm telling you, God is just bringing it, and I celebrate that in him. Hayden, he's committed to his journey in college. He decided he wanted to, be able to help people to defend the faith and become an apologist. And I see God working in him every single day, though not perfect, but God's hand is upon him, and I celebrate God's, God's what God has put inside of him, and I can't wait to see it just grow and blossom. Amani, my baby, even though he's 17, but he's about to graduate high school next year, and I'm so excited. He's a senior right now, and I look forward to him. Like he's excited about going off to college and becoming. He's very artistic. He likes the arts. He likes to anything that is artistic. That's him, and so I just can't wait to see his name in lights. As he said, he knows his name is supposed to be in lights, and I believe every single word. To you out there as parents, listen, you are not alone. I want to tell you that we're proud of you. We're proud of the journey. We're proud of the steps you're taking. And as all the ladies have encouraged you today, rely on your village. Take time for yourself too. Take time for yourself too. As parents, we want to invest everything that is us into our children. But listen, you are better to your children when you invest in yourself to find that thing that makes you exhale, that makes you ventilate, that makes you relax, that makes you put you in a good space, and try to do that for yourself periodically so you can be refreshed to continue the work that you're doing, because you are actually doing a work. You're on assignment. And so everything, there's a time and a season for it. And if you don't take the time to replenish yourself, then you'll be burnt out. But we're praying for you. We believe God concerning you, the journey you're on. We believe God concerning your children. And we just want to thank God for you. You can follow me on all social media platforms, including TikTok. Hey. Nadine B. Smith. My website is www.nadinebsmith.com. And so let me just bring all the ladies back up as I thank everyone. I want to thank you, ladies. Thank you, Lisa, Camille, Tony. It's been an amazing conversation. Thank you, everyone out there. All these ladies are on at least on Facebook. So they're on social media. Look them up, follow them, reach out to them. Listen, whatever you need from them, they're available to give it to you. And don't miss this opportunity. Listen, God will hold this against you, because he has once you've heard something, you cannot deny it anymore.
Yes.
And so once God has put you in that position to receive, you can't deny that you didn't receive. So make use of what you've received. Reach out to these ladies, and I hope you have gotten some energy and some good vibes to continue the work that you're doing. You are doing a good work. Your children are blessed. Your children are taught of the Lord. The seed of the righteous shall be delivered. So I thank God for the work in your life, in your house, in your children. God bless you, everyone. Thank you, Life Changes Club International. Thank you, Reverend Fred, Ambassador Fabi. Thank you to our international president, Apostle Joel Life Changes. Thank you, Tony, for that wonderful teaching on finances. I look forward to hearing testimonies from Tony that you guys have connected with her and are now on the journey towards leaving a legacy for your children. And I look forward to us having more conversations, woman to woman. God bless you all. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, ladies.